Question 27 reads, a chord of a circle of radius 17 centimeter is 30 centimeter long. Calculate the distance of the chord from the center of the circle. So we have four options. Let's do this together. So what we have to do first is to make a sketch of a circle, right? So we have a circle. We know this is the center of the circle. It says a chord. From one end of the circle to the other end is what we call a chord, right? So this is the chord. So it says the chord of a circle. This chord has a radius of 17 centimeter. So from the center of the circle, touching the circumference of the circle is where we have the radius. So here we have it as 17 centimeter, right? They say it is 30 centimeter long. That is the whole of this chord from the beginning to the end is 30 centimeter long, right? So to get half of this, you're going to say 30 divided by 2, which is 15. What that means is here we have it as 15 centimeter, right? So we are asked to calculate the distance of the chord from the center, from the chord to the center. So this is what we are looking for. Let's give it a letter. Let's say A, right? So that's what we are required to find. So here we can use, since this is a right angle triangle, we can use the Pythagoras rule, which states that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the opposite and the adjacent side, right? So this is the opposite square plus adjacent square. So what we are looking for, we are looking for the opposite side. So we're going to make the opposite the subject of the relation here. So the opposite square will be equals to the hypotenuse square minus the adjacent square, right? So now all we have to do next is to substitute. So the opposite square, which is the value for A, is equal to the hypotenuse, which is 17 square, minus the adjacent, which is 15 square, right? So we have this as 15 square. So we are looking for the value of A, so we just take the square roots of both sides, because what we are looking for is the value for A, not A square. So here the square root cancels the square. We are left with A is equals to the square root of 17 square minus 15 square. You know, we can simplify this even without the use of a calculator, right? By just all you have to do is to take the difference of two squares. So let's take the difference of two squares. This is A is equal to, we're going to say 17 minus 15 times 17 plus 15. So 17, so remember we have a square root here. Don't forget the square root symbol, right? So this is going to be square root of 17 minus 15 gives us 2 times 17 plus 15 will give us what? 32, right? So we have 2 times 32. This is equal to 64, right? So this is A is equal to 64 and square root of 64 is equal to 8. So that means the value for A is equal to 8 centimeter. You see, I solved this without the use of calculator. That's the beauty of mathematics. Sometimes you don't even need calculators to solve a problem, right? So now we've gotten the value of A, which is the value for the distance from the center of the circle to the chord. Please don't mind my diagram. This is not drawn to scale, okay? So looking at the option C is the correct one, all right? So see you in the next one as we move on to question 28.